Hello, I am Polly Jean Harrison with the FinTech Times, and we are here at Money 2020 in Amsterdam with the wonderful Scarlett. Scarlett, how are you doing?
Polly, I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for coming. We were just talking offline. This is maybe time 10, 11, something like that. We've been doing this a lot.
We really have. And of course, you're a lady that needs absolutely no introduction, but would you give us a little one anyway, just for the sake of it?
Sure. Hi, I am Scarlett Seiber. I am Money 2020's Chief Strategy and Growth Officer, and welcome to Money 2020 Europe 2024.
Amazing. Honestly, it feels so great to be here. It's been such a fantastic show. Obviously, right now we're at the very beginning of day 3, the last day. How has it been for you? How have things gone over the past 2 days?
It's been great, as always. Towards the end, you get a little bit tired, but I think what I'm so excited about today is we have a lot of different content. So one of the things, you know this, Polly, because you cover this a lot. Funding, if you think about the funding landscape, it's a little bit more complex these days. There might be a little bit less capital than there has been in the past. So we recognize that, and we wanted to make sure that we highlighted and focused on that. So today we have an entire summit around funders and founders. So it's really, we want to make sure that one of the things that happens here is, of course, we talk about trends, of course, we talk about theory, but we want to make sure that we have the practicality as well. So if there are founders here, which there are plenty, we have content that is like specifically tailored and measured for them. So talking about actually getting that first round, talking about making those first few hires. And then of course, back to the funding piece, we need that money. We got SoftBank Vision Fund, we got Bain, we got North Zone. We have so many VCs here as well. So that's going to be a really great summit. So that's the thing I'm most excited about for today, but we've had great stuff the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that I really love about Money 2020 is how much you focus on startups and almost like the little guys. I mean, I saw an announcement this morning. You picked like 6 startups to sort of showcase, and you've done that every year. You've got in the main floor, you've got the little startup hub. Why is it so important to you for like to nurture that next level of fintech coming in?
It's really important. So startups are the heartbeat of the industry. So of course for Money 2020, and if you think now, Tina and I and our team talk about this all the time. If you look back, someone like Patrick Collison for Stripe, he was speaking on our stages 9 years ago now. And it's just so interesting to see Patrick from a decade ago, Patrick now. So we utilize and think about Money 2020 as the platform where we can help grow, accelerate, and build a profile for some of these companies. And so that's why they will always be the heart of what we're doing, because we showcase the collective ecosystem. And of course, the big banks are here in spades, but we want to make sure that we want to see true progress and growth in the industry. And by doing that, startups need to be part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to ask you about sort of the theme this year, the human X machine. I'd love to hear more about that and kind of what was your choices when you were kind of putting that together?
Yes. So this is something that we've been working on for a long time. So you know this, but just to reiterate, the team that we have, the content team that we have are fintech experts, ex-journalists, ex-analysts, VCs, operators and banks, fintech companies, and so much more. And so when we were thinking about anytime that we set the theme, we have our marketing team, our creative team, and our content team coming together. The content team are the ones who set the theme. What are the things that are going to be relevant for the following year? So this theme was actually set last January. It takes so much time because we come up with the vision, we say, what is it that we want? Then we go through, we make sure that we get the buy-in. Does this fit with our brand? How do we want to make that happen? And then we have to get the customized branding and all that other stuff. So it was really, really important to us. Clearly, I'd actually love to know if there's any interview that did not mention AI, but we knew that AI was going to be a big thing. We saw this coming for a while. And again, moving a bit more to what's actually happening. There's still a lot of theory, let's be clear, and we're quite early on in the evolution of AI. But there are more actual practical use cases now. So anyways, back to the human by machine, the combination of the two are what makes things so impactful and so special. And that's how we got there. And you didn't exactly ask this, but 2025, we'll have an evolution of this. So we're not going to stay too far away, but it will be similar on that dichotomy of the
Amazing.
two.
And I think it was just such a really great thing. And, you know, the content that we've seen this year, you know, the panels I've sat in on has been so fantastic. I mean, has there been any sort of standout moments for you? I know you've been here, there, everywhere. You've been on stage, off stage, talked to everyone. Has there been any really standout moments for you this year?
There are always a few standout. I mean, I think in the lead up and build up to this, one of the ones that got my blood pumping the fastest was ING and Deutsche. So having Marnix from ING, the CTO representing AI for the bank, clearly we're here in the Netherlands, huge. And then Joanne the new CIO of Deutsche Bank. This is the first time she's come and spoken anywhere since her new role, so that was really interesting. But you never know exactly what's going to happen on the other side, and Gina did a fabulous job with that session. And so what was nice was they didn't sit here and agree on everything else. Marnix from ING talked about they're already using LLMs in their call centers. He talked about he said, technology plays a role, but actually we think that banks can take over and we don't really need the big tech. Joanne's like, disagree with you there. The way that we're going to do this is by partnerships with big tech. So I love when everyone is not just, yes, me too, me too, me too. So having different perspectives from two of the largest banks in Europe was really helpful and really inspiring. Of course, there's stuff. It's interesting. We've gotten some feedback too. This is a fintech conference, and the content is what separates us from everything else. However, having Dirk cute, I was like debating because I said cout on stage, but apparently it's cute. But in any case, having him come with Standard Chartered and talk about leadership, people really like that because that's the thing. What we're doing is we're bringing people together. Business gets done. That is the number one thing that's happened here. But humans are humans, and they also want to grow as individuals, as professionals, as a team. And so that was really nice as well. I cannot not talk about Francois Hollande. That one was a lot of fun as well. And it was nice too because the convergence of public and private sector is a really big thing. We've been hearing a lot about this. So his perspective on things like AI, his perspective on where tech is going was also really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just been a really great show and lots of really well-rounded things. I mean, what goes into putting a show like this together? I know we've talked about this before in previous interviews, previous years, but I mean, what goes into actually planning? You say you started in January last year to get things done. It's a 3-day event. I bet you've been working on this for months and months and months and months.
Absolutely. So January last year is when we set the show's theme for 2024. Depending on which part of the show that's happening, I mean, years in advance. Some of the stuff actually happens quite late. So all of a sudden, for a myriad of reasons, we'll have to make a shift and then we'll add something else. So that merch coin machine, if you haven't gone and tested that out, you got to go try it. It's another way of getting business done. That was something that kind of happened a little bit last minute where we were thinking about what else can we do that's unique and an experience, because after all the heavy work's been done, we go into micro-analysis mode and we look at the entire floor plan and making sure that each respective space has enough things that allows people to get business done, allows people to accelerate partnerships, and allows people to raise their profile. So, but you don't want that to be the exact same thing everywhere. So then we're like, how can we do this in a fun way? So then to go there, you stand in line, you get to know each other. That guy asks you, what do you know about Polly? Polly, what do you know about Scarlett? Depending on the answer, then you put your hands on the machine and out comes merch coins. Point is, that happened 2 months ago, but most things are way, way in advance. And that was one of the most successful things. So we got to test and iterate sometimes and see what works and see what doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's always evolving, right? And like a big show like this, you've always got to be moving and keep it going. I mean, there's one thing that I really wanted to ask you is that, so at the FinTech Times, we're focusing on diversity and inclusion this month. And I know for a fact that Money 2020 is possibly one of the most diverse, both teams in what you're doing and then in your operations as well. I mean, I'd love to ask you, why is it so important to keep this like diversity and inclusion going, especially on such a big stage such as this?
Diversity and inclusion has been a key focus of ours for a long time. Our president, Tracy Davies, who you also know, Polly, this is a center for her. So she started Rise Up over 6 years and now really focusing on the women aspect. We added Amplify as part of this, focusing on diverse members of the fintech community. Now this is the 4th iteration. That's continued to grow and get more and more attention. We get hundreds of applications. Less than 15% of people get into that program, and the stats on the other side is incredible. But that is a microcosm, and most of the world of Money 2020 doesn't get to see that part. That's special and a bit secluded. When we're talking about the stages, when Tracy started in the role of president of Money 2020, I believe that diversity on the stages was around 12%, give or take, for women. It's now over 45% across every single stage, big to small. And this year, I'm very happy to say that we have the most diverse stage that we have ever had in Money 2020 Europe's history.
Amazing. And that's so important, I think, especially for an event to bring the whole fintech world together. It's so great to see you championing it from the top up. So we've had, obviously there's been thousands of attendees, so many exhibitors, loads of people on the floor. If there was one thing that you hope people coming to Money 2020 Europe take away today, what would it be?
To me, the power of Money 2020 is in the ecosystem. The collective world of money comes together, and there is nowhere else in the world that happens. We are here on the continent of Europe, but we have the biggest global platform of fintech movers and shakers. Take advantage of the 3 days here, have those meetings. and continue your existing relationships, create new ones, and then use that to accelerate your pipeline and move forward. But also, we talked about this earlier, Polly, the power of those stages. So many amazing announcements. This is the best place to make your news. And when you work it out with us, it will be worth it.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. And then finally, looking to the future, I mean, I'm sure once the show is over today, you'll all have a bit of a debrief and then go for a glass of wine, but probably won't be too much rest for the wicked since October with the USA edition is fast approaching, I guess. So what are your plans?
Exactly that. So our EVP who runs the US is actually here in Amsterdam, and she's already put in some strategy meetings. So we are gung-ho already on that journey for Money 2020 Vegas in only 4 months, give or take. We actually have our sister brand is Cannes Lions in Cannes, France in 2 weeks. So that's where I'm going next to do our investor and analyst capital markets day.
Amazing stuff. Well, Scarlett, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you as always. Congratulations on such a fantastic show again, and I look forward to speaking to you next.
Thank you. Same with you, Polly.